Okay, so my camera is up on this mount here. Unfortunately, I want it to go over on the wall there. I was thinking I would just put like a shelf across and then mount it to the shelf, but I think I want a separate holder just for it, because what I could do, another one of these, or I could even use these and run a conduit bar across. Then I'd be able to run other mounts. So I'm not too sure what I want to do, but I think what I'll do is one simple stand for now. Now that I'm looking at that, you know, this would hold the weight. It definitely is strong enough to hold my camera, or something of the sort. But this way I'd be able to mount it nicely. But I don't think this, I think this is too big, too wide. I don't know, maybe we'll try a couple different things. Maybe I'll build a rack like this, but I'll make a single mount just for that arm. So for this arm here, but then eventually I want to have an actual shelf there. Okay, so this is that mount that I'm gonna have to design, so that way this part here is the innermost part of my wall mount, and I want to make sure I have enough room for this plate to snugly fit on that plate when it gets suctioned up. So I do have a lot of room here, so I do have an option to make it thicker if I choose, but I think we'll probably stick with about that, somewhere in that ballpark, because that's the average shelf size, you know, so, you know, 3/4 of an inch or so. So this is how it would mount, like this, and then I'd have it on the wall. Copy that footprint there, so that kind of slides in when I go to slide it in. So it's gonna have to stick out from the wall a little bit. I'd say maybe 1/4 of an inch out or 1/2 inch out, and then that's when I will start to display or start bringing this design here, and that's as simple as finding the distance from here to here, and then this inner distance here, and then just finding center, bringing it down, and then bringing it down here to the points. And I don't have to really worry about it being rounded. If I get bored, I will definitely maybe play with that. To get a prototype done would probably be the best solution to do. And if it holds my Canon T6i off the wall and doesn't fall, doesn't break, then I'm good to go. Anyways, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to design something, and I'll show you my 3D print of what I've chosen to do right now. Okay, so we finally got it finished. So this is going to be my mounting block for on the wall. All I had was this blue left, so that's what I used. It's not 100% perfect, but it'll work. I did a 50% infill just because I want it as strong as I can, so when I go to clamp onto it, that it's not going to break or crack the filament here. And I figured I'd use some bigger bolts, so this is what I thought I'd use instead for mounting it onto the wall. I might go with something smaller, but we'll see what happens here. But as you can see, the head of it does fit in there nice and flush, so once it's completely in, it's gonna not be showing, it's gonna go flush in there. So this is one option that I'm gonna try. It only took like 4 hours or so to print. If you don't go as much with the infill, it should print quicker. Yeah, anyways, that's this guy here. I put an arrow on there just because, you know, I have no idea. It's this there because I wanted to add something to it. So I'll get that mounted and we will check that out in just a moment. So I'm gonna get this guy mounted now. What I ended up doing is I went to my hardware store and I've got these guys here, these wood screws. They're number 14s, And I wanted to go with these ones just because they had Robinson head, and that way hopefully it's still wide enough it'll go into the hole here, or it's not too wide. So this one is going to, the reason why I'm using this is because I can get more of those than I can of these guys. And these guys are the same size as these ones, so really there's not much difference there. But just so you know, all I'm using is a 2-inch. You could probably go 1 3/4 if you wanted to, but I'm gonna go with 2-inch. And I could have gone with a different head, of course, but this was the last pack that was there, unfortunately, so I went with this one. As you can see here, I do have this gap in between my panel and my wall. This isn't the prettiest wall, I haven't painted it, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right in the middle here, and that way I can actually put some pressure on this panel to actually make it stay a bit too. So all I'm going to do is grab one of my screws, and all I'm going to do is put the top one in first, and then what I'll do is I'll take my little torpedo level and put it on top and level it out and put the bottom one in. And it's that simple. And one thing when you're doing this kind of stuff, you want to make sure you have you're not going into any wires or anything. By me going here, I know that should be pretty much dead center on that stud, so I'm just guesstimating. You could probably use a stud finder, which I'd probably recommend. I don't have one, so I'm just winging it on this one. For my next mount, I will definitely be using a stud finder to find out if there's any wires behind. So then all we're doing is torpedo level on the top there, and we're just going to adjust it to be level. And there we go. Now we can pop the screw in the bottom there, check it again, and it should be good. And if we want, you can actually check to see. That's pretty close. Let's go double check. There, that's much better. And there we go. That guy is not going anywhere there. So now all I'm going to do is take my camera mount off here. Alright, so I guess it's the moment of truth. I guess I should have actually tested this prior to make sure that it'll fit. What you can do, once again, just double check your work. Make sure it's all level. Looks good. Looks good. We're level. And if I made this correctly, there we go. I don't think that's going anywhere there. So as you can see, the mount fits on there pretty good. It does go all the way up to the back where I wanted it to. It's nice and tight there. Yeah, so now it's just mounting the camera on top. And that is it. Now we've got our camera mounted in our boom arm. And then we'll just tighten up with this guy here. There we go. And now we have our arm mounted on our wall. And it's completely level. And yeah, there's no reason why that shouldn't do the trick. So always make sure you're drilling into a stud using proper anchors, that kind of a fun thing. You don't want to be having your camera fall after a day or two or at all. So, alright, so there we go. The mount's all up. As you can see, it is all pretty much flush when it comes to around my mount design there. The boom arm is pretty sturdy. It's as sturdy as you're going to get with a boom arm anyways. But that mount on the wall there is not coming out. It's completely in those studs. So remember, if you're not using a stud, you're using proper anchors for the size of camera you have, or whatever you want. If you have your microphone on there, whatever. Just make sure you're using the right stuff. So I will be adding another shelf behind here to house my mixer, as well as a couple of my Raspberry Pis and my USB hub. That way I can clear up my entire desk here. So yeah, that's one quick and easy little project. Printed out. Doesn't look that bad. I could have used a different color, that's for sure, but it works. It's what I had. We went with it. On to the next project. So thanks for watching, everyone. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Take care, eh?